with a former champion leaving WWE soon and more. This is Wrestling Hub. My name is John and you're watching the Wrestling Report for July 12th. Before we get into the rest of the video, make sure you subscribe to Wrestling Hub and turn on all notifications to stay up to date with everything in the world of pro wrestling. Also, don't forget to follow us on Instagram at Wrestling Hub Official and follow us on Twitter at Wrestling_Hub. With Dolph Ziggler facing Theory at recent WWE house shows and preventing him from picking up the win in the main event of Raw, The Observer explained the reason for this feud. So Ziggler's a babyface. They did it at the house shows. I think they just want him running around with Austin Theory at shows every night for a couple nights a week, every week for a while, because they're bound and determined to make Austin Theory into something. It's a good guy to bring back for that. I think they have the mentality that whatever they're going to do with Theory down the line allows them to beat him all the time right now, which almost makes you think that maybe he will cash in successfully at some point. He's got what, a year? So they could go after Mania, I suppose, if they want to drag it out for a long time. For a guy who they're pushing, they're not protecting him from getting pinned, even at the house shows. You know, I was very surprised Ziggler beat him at the house shows this weekend. Now, it makes a lot more sense. It's a smart move. Get a guy who's a really good veteran, a really good worker, and his role is to make Theory into a better wrestler. Taking to Twitter, Mick Foley announced the signing of a new deal with WWE. Here's the video.
Hello everyone, it's the hardcore legend Mick Foley, and I just want to explain why my merchandise will not be available through Pro Wrestling Tees after July 31st. There is no heat or friction. I still have a great relationship with Pro Wrestling Tees. It just comes down to signing a new Legends agreement with WWE that does give them the exclusive on t-shirts. In the meantime, the Sacco sale is still taking place in November. The 4 Cheeses of Foley pizza is still available through Powerbomb Pizza. And please feel free to order as many shirts as you like through July 31st. I love seeing them at appearances. I'm really grateful for the relationship that I've had and continue to have with Pro Wrestling Tees. And I appreciate all of you who understand, and I understand that some of you won't understand, and that's okay too. In the meantime, hope all is well, and have a nice day.
On his debut Click This podcast, Kevin Nash touched on the end of his friend Scott Hall's life, saying people probably don't know the breakdown as far as Scott passing in the timeline. Scott was in lockdown. It was in a little duplex. It was in Smyrna, Georgia. Scott was getting Grubhub and at some Chinese takeout place that would bring him back vodka. He was making some Kool-Aid. He put the plastic pitcher up to the refrigerator. The ice went in it, but a couple of the pieces of ice always bounced out and landed on the floor. He went over and stirred it. I'm sure it was Crystal Light because he always ate pretty clean. He was going back to get something and one of those pieces of ice caught his heel. He did the whoopsie daisy and landed and broke his other hip. He's in the middle of his kitchen and he's in so much pain and he can't move. He tried to move several different times. He can't move and finally he passes out. He wakes up and now it's nighttime and he has no idea. He can see where his phone is by his recliner. He's in between that and the Kool-Aid. He ends up passing back out, wakes up, and at this point it's just like, I'm so dehydrated. He's got a defibrillator and a pacemaker in his heart. He's like, I'm going to croak if I don't get some fluids. So he just turned and gutted it back to the cabinet and reached up with 2 hands and just drank it through the spout sip by sip. Slowly, he got enough in him that he was able to drag himself and he called 911. They came and got him and took him to the hospital. So he went to Kennestone Hospital, which is like a 2 out of 5 star hospital. Scott didn't have insurance. He needed to get the hip fixed. He had some other problems and some other issues. They did some CAT scans. When it would be time to get Scott out of the hospital, he was going to stay with Dallas Page and recover there. I got a call on Sunday saying Scott had 3 heart attacks and it didn't look good. I tried to get a flight to Atlanta but couldn't, so I went back to Daytona Beach and then couldn't get a flight out of Daytona Beach. At that point, they said they were going to pull the plug, and the doctor said that it would be maybe 10 minutes that Scott Hall would be alive. So before they pulled the plug, all the Click guys got on speakerphone and we all talked to him. We all cried. Was basically all we did. 7 hours later, Scott was still alive, but then died. When asked about a potential return to Impact Wrestling with Scarlett, Killer Kross told the Wrestling Show, "Respectfully, neither of us will be returning. For the record, many of our friends work there. We are very happy for the success that they are finding. We've had many people in our corner for years that still work for that company. We have never ever been on the record to say anything derogatory or negative about any company we've ever worked for. That's beneath us. There are a lot of people involved, with companies per se, and when you have a problem with one or two or three people, it's not necessarily a systemic issue. We're happy for everybody's success, and we don't live in that place anymore. We are always moving forward. We leave it behind us, and that's really all I have to say about it." Kross also recently spoke to NBC Sports about his run in WWE and a creative pitch he had. "I had ideas about bringing back the corporate ministry. That was one of my final ideas that I had. I had a series of writers on board for that who thought it was a very good idea. I thought pitching those ideas would be cool because there's some nostalgia to it. You know, with all of these crazy conspiracy theories that are always going around about esoteric businesses and stuff like that, and cults and evil companies, I thought there would be a tasteful way to fictionalize the type of stuff and put it back on TV with a nostalgic twist." Despite having a confrontation with Theory on Raw weeks back, it looks like John Cena won't be able to make an appearance for Summerslam, as it was noted on Wrestling Observer Live. I can confirm that John Cena is out right now in Canada filming Peacemaker Season 2, so that's why there were discussions of SummerSlam. And then he shows up on Raw and is like, "I'll be back someday. I don't know when, but someday." So apparently, he's filming Peacemaker instead of doing SummerSlam. On NXT, Nikita Lyons has become a fast-rising star as the Wrestling Observer revealed that there could be big things coming her way. She's got the tag title, which makes me think that they may not. You know, I don't know. I think I would do it anyway. I know that there was talks of Nikita Lyons winning, but not for a long time. Not right now. I mean, Mandy Rose is also kind of, Braun Breaker and Mandy Rose are kind of like the flagship stars of the company. The way that they do everything. She gets the most TV time, she's a good talker, they build everything around her and everything like that, but I don't see. She's already gone through Cora Jade. Io Shirai's pretty much got her foot out the door, pretty much gone. So I don't really see any other contenders, so we'll see. After taking shots at Chris Benoit on social media, Impact Wrestling's Jordynne Grace has gone online to issue this statement. "Last week, I made an irresponsible and unnecessary tweet. Regardless of how my personal emotions influence my opinion, I should have recognized the impact my words have on friends and family close to the situation. I was completely thoughtless in that regard. Since reflecting this past week, I've reached out privately to friends and family that I angered or hurt. Among those was David Benoit, Chavo Guerrero, and Chris Jericho, who were supporting me in the decision to partner and fundraise with the Concussion Legacy Foundation, formerly Sports Legacy Institute. I have pledged $5,000 with the overall campaign goal being $20,000. I'm acutely aware that the damage has been done. I would never intentionally add on to the suffrage of those already dealing with such a traumatic event, and I'm sorry for my insensitivity in aggravating this already delicate topic. This is my way of attempting to squeeze something positive out of the negative situation I created. Thank you in advance to everyone who donates." Nancy Benoit's sister, Sandra, would respond on Twitter writing, "It's weird. I didn't hear my phone ring. I really thought the work I've been putting in for 15 years trying to keep and elevate my sister's legacy hadn't gone unnoticed. Yes, my family is an afterthought. Again, I don't even know where to start. Heartbroken. I think I broke all those years of silence, ignored my personal gain and rage to successfully put every person mentioned in this apology tweet over time, and again in the press, doing PR and on my platforms. Why did I think it would be different? Groundhog's Day." With a video from a WWE live event appearing to show Natalya no-selling Liv Morgan's finisher after being pinned, Natty would tweet a reason for doing so but ended up deleting it. Talking about this incident on Wrestling Observer Radio, Dave Meltzer said, "I know Natalya's getting heat. I think Liv Morgan's been getting heat over, you guys, whatever. Whatever it was, I don't know exactly what the situation was. I know there was a situation. I know that it was cleared up immediately that night and it's over and done with, but it did happen. I guess she was mad, but it had nothing to do with Morgan or any heat with her and Morgan, which I would think if you watched the clip, that was the conclusion that you would come to, but it wasn't that. So that was the situation in Sacramento. I had a couple of reports from Sacramento and nobody really brought it up, so it wasn't like most of the crowd, reacted to it in any way or thought it was unusual. But I did see the clip and it was a little unusual. She did just get up and leave and, it's something that you wouldn't expect." Speaking about WWE sponsors possibly walking away given the investigation into Vince McMahon, the Observer noted, put it this way, until the investigation is over, Vince is going nowhere. He's just not. When it's over, I think it depends on what they come up with, but I think that he in his mind is going nowhere. He's very difficult to unseat. You know, the Wall Street Journal reporters were talking about the sponsors. All these people are aware. Nobody has given the vote of confidence to Vince. None of the TV stations, none of the sponsors. We said the other day, if you're a sponsor, you're not going to bury him unless you're walking out of the deal, and you know, nobody has walked out on the deal. If that were to happen, that would be something, but none of the TV stations, none of the sponsors, there's been none of that. They're happy working with the company. So there you go. It's an ongoing story, and it's interesting to listen to their thoughts, people from the outside. If you tell the story to people in the outside world as I have, it sounds so much worse to people on the outside than people in wrestling, because in wrestling, it's like wink wink. We all know it. Everyone knows it. It's almost expected, and it's one of those things where it should not be that way. They really should learn from this. But it's been in the culture there for decades. They've been publicly traded for decades, and it's still in the culture there. Eventually, it needs to stop, and the fact that it was still going on, early this year, late last year, is a really bad thing. In a video, former WWE star the Great Khali can be seen in a car going through a toll booth where workers are talking to him about getting a selfie. Khali slapped a worker, according to the Tribune, as a barricade was created to prevent him from leaving. Khali would then post an explanation on his Instagram, writing, "Hello friends. Yesterday, while going to Colonel, toll tax employee of Fuller stopped my car and misbehaved for selfie. When I denied selfie, he ruthlessly passed racist comments, also used bad words. That's all I want to say. Thank you." As you may know, former NXT Women's Champion Io Shirai has been out of action since April, with rumors claiming her contract is set to expire soon. And as we mentioned, the Observer reported that Io Shirai's pretty much got her foot out the door, pretty much gone. And this was your Pro Wrestling News Update. I hope you're all having a great day. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you later.